Welcome to the Bold Analysis. The Bold podcast is the best podcast when you want to follow William Ruto's 5 days tour in the mountain. And I am here to give you update and critical analysis of every speech, every step, and everything that William Ruto will be doing in the mountain. I have listened to speeches from three gentlemen, Rigathi, Ichun'gwa, and Nyoro. The three politicians were speaking in Githurai. The intention why William Ruto went to Githurai, the reason behind starting Githurai was to pull the crowd so that he would actually get the hype of the Mount Kenya politics. He would actually get the hype and get the image of a warm welcome. Remember, Githurai is a place where every politician will always attract crowds because it is already crowded. So what politicians do, they drive their cars in the middle of the market, and then they sprout from the cars, then people mill around the convoy. It is very clear that there was something that took them to Githurai. I want you to listen keenly to these three speeches.
Na rais hapa, watu hapa Mlima Kenya walikuchagua wewe na wakakupatia kura zao zote. Wamesema kwa kauli moja, mambo ya handshake hawataki. Mumekataa handshake? Wangapi wanasema hakuna handshake, hakuna handshake, hakuna?
Hawa watu wa Githurai wanasema wamekusikia. Na sababu uliniuliza niongoze ile komiti ya mazungumzo, nataka nikuhakikishie venye watu wa Kiambu na Githurai wanasema, mambo ya nusu mkate, mambo ya handshake, hiyo hata hiyo kitu wanaita inclusivity. Inclusivity is another name ya handshake. Na nimewaambia nikiongoza, mimi naenda hapo kuwaambia nusu mkate na handshake hakuna. Munataka mazungumzo ama hamtaki? Munataka dialogue ama hamtaki? Wenye hatutaki watatuonyesha rais wetu. Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi nataka nitume ujumbe kwa wale wapinzani wetu. Sisi kama Kenya Kwanza hatutaalao kitu inaitwa handshake. Hakuna watu wataingia katika serikali kwa dirisha. Hakuna watu watavuja dirisha waingie kwa serikali. Na hata hiyo dialogue, Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi nakuomba, kwa sababu nimesikiza hawa watu wadosi wetu, wewe wachana na hiyo dialogue, tufanye kazi, Kenya iende mbele.
Now, the only word, and that was the only mission, the only message that the three gentlemen have taken to Githurai, and it seems that is what it's taking them to Mount Kenya, is to take William Ruto to the mountain and beg him to stop the talks between him and Raila Odinga. I am even wondering, why are they begging William Ruto to stop? Because William Ruto himself, through a letter that was written by Ichun'gwa, had signaled them walking out of the talks when they said that the talks cannot happen in Serena, a 5-star hotel, yet the talks is supposed to be presided over by Obasanjo, who is a very well-staunch, is a high-profile diplomat, a former president, who they want to go and talk to them in parliament. And it was a very clear sign that they were showing Obasanjo that government is not willing to foot the bill for those mediation talks. That has really emerged. I don't know whether Azimio will be willing to maybe move on with it. But that was the message from Githurai. We don't want the talks. And if you are keen, I have organized those speeches. The first one was Rigathi. He started Tulikuchagua. Then the second person was Ichun'gwa, speaking on his capacity as the mediator of the talks. Then the third person was Nyoro. Actually, the speech organizes in that manner. The third person was Nyoro. And Nyoro then hit the nail by asking Ruto to avoid the talks. I analyzed in this podcast that there is clearly, if Mount Kenya leaders will take Ruto to the mountain to speak about the handshake politics, then they shall have fallen to William Ruto's script. And Ruto will entertain it because he doesn't have tangible goodies for everyone. I'm a bit unapologetic to say this, that whenever President William Ruto in the mountain, the leaders come with a begging bowl, but that begging bowl, they're coming with a lot of entitlement because that is the region that voted for him overwhelmingly, according to the results that came from IBC. Now, from Wafula Chebukati, I should be very specific. What is the plan with behind the scheme? Everyone else has been asking that, why do you think these three politicians are against any sort of talks between Ruto and Raila? And the most simplistic and obvious explanation has been that when Ruto talks to Raila, when Ruto bridges the gap between him and Raila Odinga, then they will be rendered irrelevant. And what will then follow is the fact that their politics will die there. There will be a balancing act. Do they support Ruto? And if they support Ruto, that means they cannot bash Raila. Or do they walk out of an agreement with William Ruto and chart a different path? And someone has analyzed it this way. Unless there is a breakaway between Raila and the other Azimio, so that they form pact with the other Azimio leaders. But they are too they're too comfortable. The three politicians are in a comfort zone and they want the status quo. And what I'm going to explain to you is the reason why they want the status quo as things are is this. For long, the political career of renowned politicians from Mount Kenya have been formed, or rather have been anchored on Raila Odinga antagonism. In fact, Rigathi, Nyoro, and Ichun'gwa, these leaders, they should even thank Raila Odinga because of Raila, because of the name Raila Odinga, they've always gotten a very easy way of woodwinking the public by running a very big smear campaign against the son of Odinga and telling them the way Raila is bad, Raila is this. And the moment you run Raila antagonism, you seem to be seen as a person who is caring. That is it. And in fact, it's very clear that what they would want is a situation where they run Raila Odinga's smear campaign, and in that antagonism, they actually build their politics. Because for long, I think there's a big attempt, a big step towards undoing that narrow political thought in the 2022 general election when Uhuru Kenyatta supported Raila. But they are rolling back because that has been their political survival. I want to tell the good Kenyans, and I know I have very many good viewers from the mountain. What Ndindi Nyoro and Rigathi Gachagua and Ichun'gwa want is a situation where, when they stall the talks, Azimio la Umoja would get back to drawing board and even get back to protest. Because when Raila goes back to the protest, it gives them a fodder to run a smear campaign against Raila and Uhuru. By running it that, Uhuru does not want, Raila and Uhuru have merged to stall William Ruto. With that, they get the sympathy card. But I'm gonna repeat this again, and I wish someone within Azimio think tank gets it. We and Azimio can get the next political discourse, but rub off the protest. Rub off the protest. I want to say this unapologetic. Never again should we allow a protest that is going to see young Kenyans people from Luo Nyanza being killed in the altar of politics. Unapologetic about it. Never again. If the three gentlemen will successfully coalesce around Ruto, insulate his thoughts, and successfully stall any dialogue between Ruto and Raila, the least as we should think about is going back to the protest. It must be something else. The strategy must change. What these gentlemen want is we forestall the talks, we push Azimio back to the streets, and when the young people are being killed, they still run smear campaign by asking ODM or Nyanza MPs how many liters of blood do Raila want. Never again. Never. Never. And I think on this one, we shall stand strong. Never again should another Luo lose life because of a protest. Mananya kawawachi. Hiyo lazima tuseme. Secondly, the three politicians, one is head of budget, two is deputy president, three is majority leader. The only point of interest is wealth, centralized power for wealth grabbing. It's as easy as that. Want to centralize power, they get some compact majority, the proximity to power, so that they can get that tender, that deal, this deal, that other deal. That is what is on the table. And what people are actually thinking about. The wealth grabbing. In fact, it's not wealth creation. A host of politicians now, especially those in Kenya Kwanza, are not involved in wealth creation. It's actually wealth grabbing. It's grabbing what has already been created. Some tender is here, someone is supposed to supply some net, and someone thinks it is my company that is supposed to get it, even if my company does not qualify. It's that. The other third aspect, the scheme, is to domesticate Uhuru Kenyatta family hate so that they can anchor their politics on it. In fact, let me tell you, Uhuru Kenyatta family is a household name in Mount Kenya region. And because it has been seen as the dominant factor, everyone else knows about Kenyatta family, and everyone else has been made to understand that the region's problem is Kenyatta family. They would want to dissuade Ruto because in any case there are talks between Ruto and Raila, Uhuru Kenyatta in the background. And Uhuru Kenyatta is going to close ranks with William Ruto. The moment Uhuru Kenyatta closes ranks with William Ruto, I can tell you, Mount Kenya voters did not have a problem with Uhuru Kenyatta. The problem was the venom that was planted. Nation ran a very interesting story about a meeting that was held in the house of one of the MPs from Naivasha. And from that, they divided roles that you're going to say this about Uhuru Kenyatta, you're going to say this about Uhuru Kenyatta. So Uhuru Kenyatta hate messages were spread in the mountain through the church, through the youth groups, in the bus stops, and even through every other means available. So what they would actually want is to still anchor politics on Uhuru Kenyatta family hate. In anything that will happen, what people are waiting for is any other opponent of William Ruto will be linked to Uhuru Kenyatta, whether Uhuru Kenyatta is in politics or not. Any other opponent will be linked to Raila Odinga. That's why I was insisting, if today Kalonzo Musyoka can even walk out of Azimio and they form another coalition that Raila is not part of it, it will even be better. But I can tell even with that, people will still find a way of linking Raila Odinga. Ruto is being set up for some backlash. That's why they have taken Ruto to the mountain. If you follow those videos, you realize that they're asking the public, do you want a handshake? And of course, it's obvious. Those are their supporters. Some of them have even been paid some few coins. They're the people from that place, and the camera is going to listen to majority, they'll say no. So they want to dissuade the public so that in any case these talks are going on, Ruto will face a backlash. And then intelligence will tell the president that Mount Kenya has said no to any sort of talks between you and Raila Odinga. It will not be Mount Kenya have said, it will be a making of those leaders. Remember Kenyatta Barua, Irungu Kenyatta's letter. That letter was symbolic of opposing the handshake between Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta. That is my take. We are still interesting and still coming back with one of critical political interpretations from the Githurai meeting. Thank you.